I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I'm really not. I take a ton of information in, right? And I'm going to save a lot of this for the next episode. And when I say a lot of this, specifics. I'm going to say specifics save the specifics on what I'm talking about, because I'm going to give examples on this.
Okay.
I am going to open some eyes, and I'm extremely passionate about this. We have fallen into this thing in the country. We touched on how people are saying the American dream's dead. That's a lie. Or should we call it misinformation? YouTube might fact check us, so you might have to watch this on Rumble, right? Here's the deal, is there is a lot of fear-mongering out there. I turn on Fox News. I turn on MSNBC. What's the MSNBC show? Squawk Box.
Yes.
I turn on, there's a couple good people on like Fox Business. There's a couple good people on CNN Money. The girl with the British accent on CNN is pretty good. The CNN Business, I call it CNN Money, but it's the business one. I don't know what it is. I mean, CNN is so unpopular. Their streaming network only had 10,000 views this week, right? So, but I do watch some stuff on there. I kind of watch a little bit of everything. I watch some YouTube. You guys know who Graham is. If you watch YouTube, I watch some podcast. I take a lot of content in, probably because I have ADD. Has to be, right? So, but anyways, one of the things that gets under my skin and drives me nuts is the doom and gloom when it's not based off of reality, right? So we talked about this morning. There was 3 or 4 headlines that I've seen just today, but I can go back to basically January when the Fed had indicated that they were raising rates. Well, at some point they have to raise rates. You can't keep them artificially low, right? Some point you have to allow, and you could get into whether, that is manipulating the market. Are we truly a free market if this is what we're doing, and so on and so forth? We will probably get into that on this show at some point.
Yeah.
Because I take in too much information, and I believe in common sense. But here's the deal here's what I can't stand. The American working class, they work extremely hard, right? I think so. We're part of it.
Yeah.
You look and you're driving down the road, there's construction. There's some guys working their ass off in the heat, especially down here in the South, that it's hot. They get off of work and they want a nice cold beer. They want to go see their family, maybe go to the kids' sports games, go home, take care of business, go to bed, wake up, do it again. 99% of the people in this country, what do they want? They want to be able to support their families, have good jobs, and be left alone, right? So what do they do, though? And what I'm getting at is most of us are extremely busy. And as time's gone on, we've gotten busier.
Yes.
100%. A lot busier. And then I look at how hard people are working. And in this country, we work more than pretty much any other country. Respect. Hats off. American freaking made. Awesomeness. That's why we're the greatest country in the world. For 200 plus years. Back-to-back World War II champs. Can't beat us. Dude, we're so awesome that there's world conflicts going on, and they don't even want to drag us into it. They will talk shit now, but they won't drag us into it, right? But anyways, what I'm getting at is we're a great country. We got great American citizens. Most of us want the same thing. We want to raise our families and to be left in peace, but we're busy. So we turn to our trusted news networks, whether it's corporate media or that person we trust on YouTube, who maybe don't have our best interest in mind, or they don't understand us as the working class, and they don't understand that we don't have time to dig into all the little data points. Or I'll give the news this. They make their money off of advertising. The corporate media makes their money off of advertising, right?
Yep.
So they need some stuff that's going to get some ratings and click. We can call it clickbait. So it's boom, big headline. But some of us are so busy, we just read the headline and we don't read the rest of the information. Some of that is on us. I would say a majority of it is on us because we aren't digging deep enough. But I also sympathize and have empathy because I know how busy I am with a young family. You, new marriage, new home, young families. It's busy.
Yeah.
We're going to dig into the facts. And this is what drove me nuts. And this is part of my why, especially for this podcast, but part of my why on why we're doing the business. Because is it 2008 all over again? Don't buy. housing bubble is going to burst. Just examples of the headline, but based on what? So then I open the articles or I watch the videos and I see them, and it's a bunch of freaking fluff.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of fluff. It's a bunch of big words, somebody yelling at a camera, right? And I'm not yelling. I'm just a passionate Italian/Irish person, right? And I am passionate about this because if you don't have enough time to look into it, you think it's a bad time based off of headlines because you trust these quote unquote trusted news sources and you don't look into it. Now, part of that is we have to take some responsibility here, and maybe we need to look into this stuff ourselves. But here's what I'm going to say is, yes, we do. But when you get off of your job, and you could be a laborer building a road, or you could be somebody who's a 9 to 5 in an office sitting at a desk staring at a computer screen all day, you're tired. The last thing you want to do is sit on your laptop and look at Census Bureau data, right? So what we're going to do, and part of my why and why I'm doing this business and why NBI Financial Group's a thing, is we're going to look into the data, we're going to dig deep, and we are going to give you the information that you need to know. And I'm not going to spoil episode 2, but I am going to say this, and I'm going to tell you right now. It is not 2008. If somebody's saying it's 2008 and there's a bubble that's going to burst, tell them that they're an idiot. They don't know what they're talking about. You know what else drives me crazy? I told a buddy of mine, I was on the phone with him. We were chit-chatting, having a great time, and he's loud. He's louder than me. And I was like, yeah, me and Ben Singleton, we're starting NBI Financial Group. We're going to go out and we're going to become mortgage brokers. We figured as the lender, if the broker's coming to us as the experts, we need to bring our expertise to the people because we're men of the people. And he said, oh, no, I wouldn't do that right now. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I've been doing this for 20 years. And this time, right now that we're living in, is worse than anything I've ever seen. And I sat there. I said, okay, man, I hear you. And we hung up the phone. And I started to think, man, what an idiot he is. Like, what do you mean it's worse than any time we've ever seen? So is there fraudulent things happening to rate mortgage-backed securities at a higher rating? No, there's not. That's not happening. Are prices artificially inflated? No, they're not. There's this thing called Economics 101.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. And what happens when there's a low supply and a high demand?
Prices go up.
And they keep going up until supply meets the demand. The supply and demand X, I remember it. Dr. Lipford just circled it, and right there where it crosses is where you want to be.
Yes.
Right now, we're not where it crossed it.
No.
Supply is here, and demand is here.
We have a supply issue.
We have a huge supply issue, and we aren't going to get into why that can happen. There are some policy things. There are some people shutting down the country. There was the original shutdown in the country. In hindsight's 2020.
Yes.
Nobody knew what coronavirus was going to do. Former president shut down the country. Current president kept mandates in. We have stuff on ships that couldn't get offloaded. We had forest fires out west. It has been tough. This has been a hard time. It has.
Yes. But
our housing industry is not in trouble. And I say all of this because I am passionate about the misinformation. You want to know why he was yelling about misinformation, or not misinformation, but yelling about how bad the times are? Guess what channel he watches? Fox News. There's a Democrat president, so everything's the worst thing in the world on Fox News.
Yeah.
Now, 5 years ago, not even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a Republican president. So anyone who was watching the other channels, it was the worst time in the world. So what I want to do is I want to bring you unbiased information. I want to bring you data. I want to bring you facts. And I'm going to be honest. You're great at finding it, and I'm great at communicating it because I'm loud. And I make noises, and I talk with my hands. And
you're loud, they can hear you, right?
They can hear me. But I am extremely passionate about that. How can you not be?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, man.
Absolutely.
They're scaring people out of pursuing something that could help them.
Yeah.
And they do it across all sectors of the economy. They do it across all business. And let me let you in on a little bit of a secret. The people who are usually pushing that information to these mainstream media, these corporate media types, those people who are pushing it, they're usually the ones with all the money. And when, you know what happens when you have a bunch of money and the economy dips and prices and everything get cheaper? What do? You buy. So you're helping yourself. Now, what we're going to do as part of this show and what we're going to educate our borrowers on is, hey, listen, times aren't bad.
No.
Times are tough, but there hasn't been a time in the world where it hasn't been tough.
So there was a little mini housing recession. A lot of people might not know this in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this reminds me a lot more of that than anything close to 2008.
Was it a recession if a lot of people don't know it? It was a mini one.
It was a mini one. Housing sales slowed down. Prices actually dipped, I think, a little bit.
Yep.
Interest rates went up. Pretty comparable to, I think, what people are expecting now, what actual housing experts are expecting right now.
Yes. Which I'm not afraid of, and you shouldn't be either.
No, exactly. It's a completely different market. It's because of 2008. It's fresh on everyone's mind, and everyone's comparing it to that.
It's like bull runs and bear runs. They go in cycles.
Which, yeah.
And just because it's a bear run, that doesn't mean it's bad.
Exactly. It's cyclical. We keep going back to that.
And guess what? When prices of housing get cheaper, you should buy.
That's right. Buy low, sell high.
Yes, 100%. And if you're holding when it goes low, keep holding. Don't sell.
Yes.